Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos of memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
I have a couple of older siblings that were both in band, and so it's kind of like a tradition now. We're a very musical family, talented.
My brother was in band, and I saw that, and I was like, I bet I could do it better.
I joined band because I saw a jazz band playing in a movie, and I thought they were really cool. So whenever we had the day to sign up to get instruments during 6th grade, I wanted to play saxophone, but they didn't have any left to sell, so they said play clarinet because it's basically the same thing.
Okay, so all my friends were joining band, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be peer pressured, and so I joined band, and now none of the friends that were originally joining are in band anymore, so that's the thing. But yeah, that's why.
For me, my grandma actually made me, and then I told my grandma that I wanted to leave, but then I formed so many friends that I didn't want to leave, so I kind of just stuck in band.
It was cool and I wanted to.
Ride. I'm just kidding. It's American River songs.
Mine would have to be American River songs.
My favorite song is probably Fantasia. We play it every year, and I just like look forward to playing it. Well, not anymore.
Ride. That's my absolute favorite, and then my second favorite is probably Phantom of the Opera.
Favorite song? Good question. Ride? Question mark? That was a good song. I liked American River songs as well, which you guys are playing it next year apparently. Yeah.
For me, I just liked all the stands tunes in marching season. I really liked Firework and Rolling in the Deep because it featured Bridgehorn.
I'm gonna tell this one. It's been told every year since it happened, and this is the last year that it can be told by people who were actually there. Okay, the legendary "Don't spit your toothpaste out of a bus window" story. Peyton brushes her teeth, has the toothpaste in her mouth, spits it out the window, it flies back in, and smacks Jasmine in the face. And it was awesome. You just hear like, it was a good trip.
My favorite memory from band, and this has been my favorite memory like since it happened. Like when it happened, I'm like, in my interview, I'm gonna say that was my favorite memory. It was when we were at a pep rally one time in middle school when I was the drum major, our 8th grade year. And Mr. Maestri, he would always like dance to the music we were playing. Dance, yeah. He'd always, and he'd bounce up and down on like 3 or 4 steps up the bleachers. And then one time, he just fell. He just tumbled down the bleachers. And then he just like popped back up and was like, "I'm good." And
Yeah,
like,
no, didn't face him.
No, yeah, he popped back up and was like, kept dancing, then he limped away. But
My favorite memory was probably the 4 states trip this year. It was a lot of fun. It was me, Brayden, Landon, and Jackie, and we were deep in the heart of Texas for 3 days.
I think it'd have to be going to the state championship, because I know that's not gonna ever happen again. So I'm glad that I went to go that first time. I only
Mine was the same as basically the last question. I just like marching band in general. The bus rides and us singing in the stands with like Jackie and Daniel and Isaiah did it before he left.
My favorite memory was marching in the showcase of bands at War Memorial Stadium. There's nothing really like marching there, walking off the ramp and onto the field. It's very surreal.
you said falling in the marching band, like,
Oh, that's what it is. My funniest memory. We went to Silver Dollar City last year, and this is when we had this percussionist named Matt here, and he was like hilarious. He was hilarious. He was like, I don't know, he's just funny. But we were in the glass blowing shop, and so there was this guy, and he had this big beard. And
No,
we were in there, and we were talking about, we had airplanes on our shirts because our show was aerodynamics, and the guy was like, "Oh, what are the airplanes for?" And it was like, "Oh, we flew planes back at Nam, except they changed from planes to dragons that breathe fire." And we had a seriously fun time. We were just making a bunch of stuff up with this guy, and it was pure. It was awesome. We told him his beard was pure gold, because it was.
My funniest memory from band was probably when Mr. Maestri decided to like catch the percussion section doing bad things. And this is 8th grade year again, and so I was the drum major, and I had I was his aide first period, and that's what he required and stuff. And so every morning I would like set up the chairs, for band, and I was in the middle of.
Sorry, I was trying to hold it. Oh, my rib. Anyways.
And I was in the middle of like setting them all up, and then he walks like past me with some masking tape and his iPad, and like he got like one of the chairs, and they're all broken, so I thought he was gonna die. And he like set it in front of the doors and like got up on it and like put his iPad. He pressed record first, like he went to the camera and pressed record, and then set it up above the back doors, and like just used like 2 strands of masking tape and just taped it across, and then just left it there. And I was like, why? And then we got into band, which is 3rd period. That was 1st period, and band's 3rd period. So we get into band, and we're just sitting there, and like the whole point of having a hidden camera is so people don't know it's there. And the first thing he says in class is, "I'm filming you, so don't do anything stupid." And so the percussionist don't do anything stupid that day, so he can't catch them. But like halfway through class, it just kind of just peeled off and then just crashed to the ground.
Wait, hold on. Another golden memory is one time I was sitting next to Isaiah, and we were just sitting there, and I just go, "Bam!" and chop him in the neck, and he starts hacking his lungs out because he can't breathe. For one, it was hilarious. I was laughing, and he gets yelled at. Mr. Patrick tells him to go to the office, and he's like, "What? Why?" It was funny.
A lot of them's already been said already, so I was there and I agree. I think those were funny, but definitely the Branson trip was really funny, and then also any middle school memory with Isaiah. Those were really funny because him and Jackie would get into fights, and Mr. Maestri would get mad at him.
I was sitting in a practice room. It wasn't even like they weren't even playing anything really. They were just kind of sitting around. And I peeked my head up the door to see what was going on, and my hand accidentally hit the light switch. And it didn't turn the lights off in the band room, just in that room I was in. And so I flicked it back on, and long story short, I ended up getting ISS for that because I was disrupting class. I thought that was pretty funny.
My best memory was in middle school. Mr. Meister was telling us to go to sectionals, and what happened is all the French twins went into a room, and Isaiah didn't want to do anything, so he started climbing on all these boxes really high, and he kind of leaped off. He leaped off, and we all hear this huge crunching noise, and we look down, and we're freaking out. Jackie and I are just freaking out, and there was a big dent in his French horn, and his slide came off, and he just bent it back into place, but the slide wouldn't go back on, and so he kind of like jammed it in there enough to stay. And he went up to Mr. Maestri telling him that it was stuck, because that's actually something that happens a lot. And so Mr. Maestri's ready to pull with full force, and he yanks it off, and it goes flying. And Jackie and I are trying to hold in laughter, and Mr. Maestri still thinks that it's his fault.
So my funniest memory that like involved me per se was we were having a drill down in marching season, and I was like one of the last people left. It was me and like Chase Gilder, I think. I'm not positive. But Mr. Morgan was like getting up in our faces and just like trying to get us to like set, smile or whatever. And I was doing really well. Nothing was fazing me. And then he leaned into my ear and whispered, "Blueberries." And I couldn't contain myself. It was not a proud moment.
Oh, this is the time for the Tillman disaster story.
The whole day is just the Tillman disaster. Like, so many things went wrong that day, and they're all just like classified under the Tillman disaster.
Everything that could go wrong went wrong at the Arkadelphia football game this year, okay? First thing, we're almost to halftime, and Mr. Morgan turns around and looks at me. He said, "What did we forget?" And I said, "The speaker?" And he goes, "Nope." And I look at him for a second, and then it like hits me, and I go, "Oh, I forgot the podium." It was my fault. I forgot the podium, and I only admitted it until now. It was somebody else's fault until now. Anyways, so we have to go over to the Arkadelphia band and go to their drum major and their director and say, "Hey, can we use your podium?" And no, their podium is like twice as tall as ours, and I'm not the best with heights, and so I was like up there like, but I get up on the podium, and they're rolling the equipment, like the bells and the marimba and whatever, and they're rolling it onto the field. And what is it? Tillman had the bells?
He had the bell set.
The bell set. All those pieces are removable quite easily, especially if you're rolling it onto the field and it just goes bah! It hits the ground, okay? And so they're gathering all the pieces up there, and I'm up there like shaking because I'm afraid of heights, and also because I'm laughing. And through that entire show, I was laughing because I would look down and see Tillman, and it would make me start laughing again, which would make him start laughing, which is hilarious, okay? It was a bad/funny night, and that is my most embarrassing story because I forgot the podium, but then there was like extra there.
Tillman couldn't do anything either. Like, they all fell out, so it's not like he could just put them back in before the show. They were like
he just piled on there with like the lid sat on top of it. He just stood there
for the whole march. And we're just on the field, and we turned around and just, like, we heard it fall, but I didn't have any clue what it was. And we like got out there and turned around, and we just see Jackie like laughing. Like, we didn't know what was going on, and I didn't actually find out until I saw the video for it, like what actually happened. And like right after it fell, Mr. Morgan, like down there, like in the corner of the video, just looked so disappointed with us. He was like, My most embarrassing moment was probably during my sophomore year. We went to Ashdown, and Ashdown's visitor stands have like a foot between each bench, and
that.
yeah, they're like really steep, and they're like there's like a lot of space in between each stands, and there's like no backplate like ours had. And so and this is back when I played saxophone in marching band, and I'm just standing there, and I took like a tiny step backwards and just fell through the stand, like my left leg just fell through the stand, and I didn't and my saxophone fell, and we were right behind the clarinets, and my saxophone just like hit Sam right in the head, and we both just went down. She I was scared I killed her. Like, that's how hard it hit. And she was just like crying, and I felt so bad. I've never felt that bad before.
Well, just last week, way after our last band concert, I fell off the jazz band stage, but that was actually pretty serious. So, but was probably whenever I accidentally locked my keys in the trunk of my car 30 minutes before I had to be backstage for my All Reaching concert. So, long story short, you said that already. Okay, so the spark notes, we tried other people's trunk keys.
I'll just run B-roll and use what you said last night. You said the same story.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we went inside and asked people to like use their trunk keys, and like my mom was like looking up how to pick a lock, and is wanting her to hotwire the whole car, so that wasn't gonna work. And we finally called my dad, and he said we were gonna be able to like lift the seat up in the back, but that didn't work, so we kind of just like put our foot up and just ripped it off, so it's broken now.
My freshman year, I played a snare and pit percussion at the same time. In between the second and third songs, I had to run up to the sidelines, put my drum down, and go over the bells. It was embarrassing for me every time.
Mr. Maestro is having trouble with people listening and all those kind of things, and so to try to help him, I made this poster and it said "Be a leader," and a bunch of people made fun of it, and it's still up to this day, and I wish they would just take the stupid thing down.
I think it's pretty.
Yeah, it's a nice poster. Me either.
I didn't think it was.
I knew she made it because she brought it in.
Yeah, I knew she made it.
I'm the one who hung it up, and I thought it was a pretty nice poster.
That was my shirt.
And then everybody made fun of it because they thought My Street made it.
That's why.
That's what our 6th grade class thought. We thought Mr. Maestro made it.
It's glitter on it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we made fun of it. Yeah.
My most embarrassing moment was in middle school. We were in the concert set in the Arcs, and I was sitting on the edge, on the right side. David Odom was sitting kind of on the left side on the edge, and then Isaiah Fair was sitting in the middle. And David Odom threw a pencil from across the room at Isaiah, and so it goes this way. And Mr. Maestri gets really mad at Isaiah, and he's like, "Who did it? And was it David?" And he points at me on the other side of the band when the pencil came from this way. And I felt ashamed even though I did nothing.
Daniel the most because he's like one of the best things that's ever happened to me, and I love him so much, and he's like, I'm just always gonna love him so much.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna just miss everyone. Like, the band wouldn't be the same if it didn't have everybody that was in it. And everybody, I don't think we would have gotten sweepstakes if everybody that is in band right now, like if some of the people weren't there.
It was a team effort.
Yeah, it's a team effort. I mean, if we didn't have everybody, we wouldn't have like broken the even year streak, and yeah. So I'm just gonna miss everybody. I love you guys.
Our squad, the Nerd Herd, and you know who you are. I'm gonna miss you.
I gotta say, Christopher and Fisher. We are the best rhythm section ever.
I'm probably gonna miss the saxophone section the most. Bryn and Daniel and Jimmy and just everyone.
For me, I think I'm gonna miss Mr. Morgan the most, and it's not to get on his good side or anything.
Hi, Mom.
And we're done.
Yeah, that's it.
It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.